Unit 3. Procedure for obtaining visa, permanent permit and citizenship. This unit is designed to introduce the learners to the procedures and conditions for obtaining a visa, permanent permit and Cyprus citizenship for foreign nationals. After acquiring knowledge from this unit, learners will be qualified to pass on the information on the procedures for obtaining visa, permanent permit and Cyprus citizenship to foreign nationals. Procedure for obtaining a visa. A visa is a conditional travel authorization granted by a country to a foreigner, allowing them to enter, remain within, or to leave that country. Visas typically include limits on the duration of the foreigner's stay, territory within the country they may enter, the dates they may enter, the number of permitted visits or an individual's right to work in the country in question. EU citizens do not require a visa to enter Cyprus, but they must carry a valid passport or their national identity card provided there is a photo and the citizenship is declared on the card. The different categories of visas applicable in Cyprus are short stay or tourist visas, including multiple entry visas. When someone is traveling to the Republic of Cyprus for reasons other than immigration, and your visit does not exceed 3 months, you might need a travel visa. The travel visa gives you the right for a continuous visit or several visits to Cyprus. The duration of visits in total should not exceed 3 months in any half of a year from the date of the first visit. In general, the short-stay Cyprus visa is issued for 1 or several visits. In case you need to come to Cyprus often, business trips etc., it is possible to get a multiple entry visa for several visits. The total duration of the visits should not exceed 3 months in any half of a year from the date of the first entry. The multiple entry Cyprus visa is valid for 1 year. In exceptional cases, it might be valid for more than a year but no more than 5 years for certain categories of persons. To see more information on how to obtain a short-stay visa, click here or here. Long-stay visas. If you are planning to stay in Cyprus for more than 3 months, you will have to apply for a long-stay visa. O Cyprus Residence Visa. O Cyprus Work Permit. O Cyprus Student Visa. Airport Transit Visa, ATV. This visa category entitles aliens who are required to have such a visa to pass through the international transit area of Cypriot airports without actually entering the national territory of Cyprus, during a stopover or transfer between 2 stages of an international flight. The requirement to have this visa is an exception to the general right to transit without a visa through Cyprus. Here you can see the list of the countries whose citizens are required Cyprus Airport Transit Visa. Transit visas. If you are traveling from one country to another country and you have to pass through the territory of the Republic of Cyprus, to do so you might need a transit visa. This visa may be issued for 1 transit, or exceptionally for several transits. The duration of each transit case should not exceed 5 days. The transit visa is issued provided that the entry of the traveler into the territory of the destination country is guaranteed and that the route taken normally requires transit through Cyprus. Group visas. This is a transit visa or a visa limited to a maximum of 30 days, which may be affixed to a group passport, except where national legislation provides otherwise, issued to a group of travelers formed prior to the decision to travel. The group visa is issued, provided that the members of the group enter the territory, stay there and leave it as a group. Group visas may be issued to groups of between 5 and 50 people. The person in charge of the group should possess an individual passport and, where necessary, an individual visa. Procedure for obtaining immigration permit, permanent residence. A person can apply to obtain an immigration permit on the basis of one of the categories referred to in Regulation 5 of the Aliens and Immigration Regulations. For the granting of an immigration permit, an application is submitted on the Form M-67 to the Civil Registry and Migration Department directly or through the District Aliens and Immigration branches of the police. The application should be accompanied by the appropriate documents, depending on the category for which it is submitted. Currently, there is a new and accelerated procedure for granting immigration permit to applicants who are third country nationals and intend to invest in the Republic of Cyprus. The procedure for the submission and examination of an application is the following. The application should be submitted on Form M67 to the Civil Registry and Migration Department or to the district officers personally or through post or through a representative. It is noted that the applications submitted to district officers shall be transferred to the Civil Registry and Migration Department directly, without any processing. Applications which are submitted in Cyprus, personally or through a representative or by post, shall be filed in an ordinary file. The applicant should ensure that each relevant document of the application must be numbered with blue ink, from the first page to the last. Inside the file there shall be included a checklist of all necessary documents, which must be submitted with the application form, which must be completed by the applicant or by a representative of the applicant. The application shall be examined by the Civil Registry and Migration Department and shall be submitted to the Minister of the Interior, through the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, for a decision. For the purposes of the specific type of immigration permit, no personal interviews are necessary, except when the Permanent Secretary decides that an interview is necessary. The Ministry of the Interior shall inform the applicant or the representative of the applicant and the Civil Registry and Migration Department about the decision of the Minister of the Interior. The immigration permit shall not be cancelled, provided that the applicant will visit Cyprus one time at least, every 2 years period. Provided that the criteria described in the first chapter are fulfilled and no further questions arise with respect to the criminal record of the applicant, or public order, the application shall be examined by the Minister of the Interior in a positive spirit and the immigration permit shall be granted. It is estimated that when applying the procedure described above, the period for the examination of the application shall not exceed a period of 1-2 months. The following documents, which must accompany the application form, can be found on the website of the Ministry of the Interior. O Application Form .67. O Checklist. O Affidavit. O Statement to the effect that the applicant is not employed in Cyprus. Procedures for obtaining citizenship. The terms permanent residence and citizenship are often confused with one another. Although both confer rights to live legally in the host country, in our case, Cyprus. A lawful permanent resident is someone who has the right to live in Cyprus indefinitely. Naturalization is referred to as the process for which a non-citizen of a country, in this case Cyprus, may become a citizen of that country, gains the citizenship. The applicant citizen, and eventually his wife and children, will be able to hold a Cyprus passport and have all the benefits of a Cyprus citizen. Applications for the acquisition or enunciation of Cypriot citizenship as well as for the grant of a certificate of citizenship determination are submitted to the Civil Registry and Migration Department, the district administration offices and the diplomatic missions of the Republic, embassies and consulates. Subsequently, all the applications are processed by the Citizenship Section of the Civil Registry and Migration Department. The accompanying documents of all the applications should be duly authenticated, that is, they should bear the stamp apostille, if they are issued by countries that have signed the Hague Convention, otherwise they should be sealed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the issuing country and the diplomatic mission of the Republic of Cyprus in the issuing country. There are 3 categories. Acquisition of citizenship due to Cypriot origins. Acquisition of citizenship as a spouse of a Cypriot citizen, type M125. Naturalization. The category that is more relevant for foreign investors is usually the third one, naturalization, that is subsequently divided in 2. Scheme for naturalization of investors in Cyprus by exception. One of the main objectives of the economic policy of the Republic of Cyprus is to further encourage foreign direct investment and to attract high net worth individuals to settle and do business in Cyprus. Key factors that make Cyprus an attractive destination for investment is the highly specialized human capital, the reliable legislative and regulatory framework, the stable tax system and the safety and stability conditions prevailing in the country. Within this framework and taking into account the strong investor interest, the government of Cyprus has established and revised the scheme for naturalization of non-Cypriot investors by exception on the basis of subsection 2 of Section 111A of the Civil Registry Laws of 2002 to 2015, with specific incentives, terms and conditions and control procedures in order to prevent abuse. On the basis of the scheme, a non-Cypriot citizen, who meets one of the following economic criteria: A. either personally or through a companies in which he/she participates as a shareholder, in proportion to his holding percentage, or through investments done by his/her spouse or jointly with the spouse, or even as a high-ranking senior manager of a companies that meets one of the economic criteria, A, may apply for the acquisition of a Cypriot citizenship through naturalization by exception. A high-ranking senior manager may apply, provided that he/she receives such a remuneration that generates for the Republic tax revenues of at least €100,000 over a 3-year period, and provided that this tax has already been paid or prepaid. The applicant should have made the necessary investments during the 3 years preceding the date of the application and must retain the said investments for a period of at least 3 years as from the date of the naturalization. Criteria: 1. Investment in real estate, land development and infrastructure projects. 2. Purchase or establishment or participation in Cypriot companies or businesses. 3. Investment in alternative investment funds or financial assets of Cypriot companies or Cypriot organizations that are licensed by CySEC. 4. Combination of the aforementioned investments. For the evaluation of the applications, the application by an alien for a certificate of naturalization, M127, must be submitted along with the following documents: clean criminal record, certificate of clean criminal record from the country of origin and the country of residence, if different, residence in the Republic of Cyprus, a contract of sale, b. title deeds or proof of registration of the contract with the Lands and Surveys Department, c. proof of payment of the agreed purchase price, d. copy of the wire transfer to a Cypriot commercial banking institution in the name of the seller or the seller's company, e. an evaluation certificate from an independent registered land surveyor, if required by the Ministry of Interior or the Ministry of Finance. Criteria regarding the investment, when applicable: a certificate of registration of the companies by the Registrar of Companies, b. certificate of shareholders by the Registrar of Companies or certificates evidencing that the applicant is the beneficiary owner of the companies, c. audited accounts of the company, or companies, for the last 3 years preceding the year of the application. d. If the applicant is a high-ranking senior manager, the submission of the employment contract and the receipt from the Department of Inland Revenue are additionally required. e. If the investment is made by the spouse of the applicant or jointly, a marriage certificate is required. Furthermore, depending on the case, additional documentation may be required. You can find more details about the criteria that have to be fulfilled in the documentation here. Naturalization based on years of residence. The application by an alien for a certificate of naturalization, M127, can be submitted by foreign nationals who have completed 7 years of legal residence in the Republic prior to the date of application. In cases of aliens who are either parents or children of Cypriot citizens, the time required is 5 years rather than 7. In any case, the applicant must have resided legally and continuously in Cyprus during the 12 months preceding the date of the application. Accompanying documents: birth certificate of the applicant, certificate of clean criminal record of the applicant, marriage certificate, copies of all the pages of all the passports of the applicant showing his/her arrivals and departures in Cyprus, detailed statement of arrivals and departures completed by the applicant, copies of newspaper advertisements in 2 consecutive publications which report that the applicant has filed an application for naturalization, 2 passport-size photographs, photocopy of receipt for the amount of €500 paid as fees. It is important to note that, in the case of the naturalization process, where, following a periodic inspection, it has been established that a criterion, term or condition of the scheme has been breached, the granted naturalization may be revoked. FDI advisors should check the resent data on relevant authorities' web pages or directly contact the responsible office, Ministry of Interior, before giving any information or starting the permit application procedure for the foreign investor.